Yo, what's going on? This is Classy Gents Roundtable, and we are back to talk about our personal video game timelines, and we will be picking up at the GameCube era, and starting off with Zadius Prime.
Well, mine's more of a PS2 era. But,
yeah, whatever. Go for it.
But still. A very important game from that part of my timeline, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think that is what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Hence how we started with saying it was the
timeline.
You're
a piece of shit.
Just saying.
Would probably be Kingdom Hearts, mainly because it determined my taste in a lot of other games. Namely Final Fantasy and...
Guitar Hero?
Yes, exactly.
For the second one?
Yeah. Yep.
You keep going. Chiming in.
I actually didn't play a lot of Guitar Hero.
Really?
No. I didn't even get Guitar Hero for the PS2. Got it for the computer.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway,
which fun fact, the computer version never got paid for music.
Really?
Yes. The store was there and it said coming soon every time you pressed it.
Interesting.
But anyway. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is probably one of the more important games from that time. I don't know how much I played that game. A little too much.
Didn't you have the file that had like 9999 hours?
Yeah, because I always left the game running, so the clock reset back to 0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I constantly played that game for probably like 2 years.
Okay.
I don't remember whether or not I beat it on hard though. I might have.
Well, what else from that era besides games?
Or what did that influence your taste?
RPGs, mainly.
Oh,
because I never really played RPGs before, because I'd gotten Kingdom Hearts, and then I think my birthday came around or something. And I was talking to some guy in one of the stores, and just like, hey, I like Kingdom Hearts. What do you got? And he's just like, well, you should try out Final Fantasy X2. I'm just like, cool, I'll try that. And then it was nothing like Kingdom Hearts.
So you were in a big... They gave you X2 before X1?
Yeah. Probably because they didn't have X or something. I don't know.
It's weird.
They're just trying to hype the hot new thing.
Yeah. Probably because it just came out or something. I don't know.
It's probably more expensive.
Yeah. So I'm just like, all right, this is kind of weird, and I can't walk around during a fight. This is...
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess that is a big difference.
So that was a big change.
And you didn't even play Pokemon.
No. I never played anything turn-based.
Turn-based.
Well, turn-based in that game's sense, but still. But I ended up playing that, and I played a lot of that too. I'm just like, well, this is fun. And then I happened to stumble upon Final Fantasy X. I'm just like, well, got to play this now. It's because 2 didn't make a lot of sense in some regards. Played through that, loved that. Though I didn't really get into the side content. Never really touched it. And I probably would not have been able to comprehend the side content at the time. And then from there, it just kept branching out to more and more RPG games. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Shortly after that, I think I got Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the Game Boy Advance. Because a friend of mine recommended it.
1 was fun. 2 not so much.
1's fun.
2 is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of 2.
It has this weird leveling system.
Yeah.
Where
because it's super broken.
It is very broken, and it's no fun.
No.
In my opinion.
No, that's probably why they never went back to that kind of setup, because they just found that it just didn't work. I mean, beating the crap out of your party members is always fun to force them to level up.
You would get more point. You wouldn't get experience. You'd get points based on what happens. So you'd get more hit points.
I remember you discussing this at one point.
If you got hit more often, and you get more magic if you use more magic. But the way to cheat that is to beat up your party really early. And after doing that for 2 hours, I got really bored of that game, and I never went back to it. And I've tried to pick it up multiple times again, and I don't want to restart, and I don't know where I am because I don't know where to go. And it's like I don't remember what I was doing, and it's just no fun.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely
2 might be crossed off my list of things to do pretty soon. I might just skip it.
What else? What else is really important to me from that time?
What about Wind Waker? That was GameCube era.
That's just another Zelda to me.
Really?
Well, fuck you.
It really is. Like,
why is that? Because a lot of people, I feel like, in that era, or definitely people our age, definitely, I don't know, they have like a real strong connection with Wind Waker compared to other Zeldas.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I'm not saying it's a bad game.
No.
But it's not influential.
Explain.
It's what did that bring to the table that was different and new?
A boat.
Really?
It felt open world to me. Like, that's how I know you can argue many points. It was like, oh yeah, it was just kind of like a de facto loading screen or something like that, or the world isn't that big once you break down all the little points you're going to. But to me, it was like,
time. Yeah, you gotta think about the time that it came out.
Yeah,
I just don't hold that one to a very high regard.
It's like, I just thought it was cool because it was like super open world and
thoroughly enjoyed
like,
Twilight Princess significantly more than Wind Waker.
Even though it wasn't linear, it didn't feel as linear because you just had this giant scape. You didn't have to go directly to the next thing. It's like you could doodle around in a bunch of islands. You could go have some fun. You could go talk to a bunch of fish. And stuff like that. I liked it. It's kind of something.
Yeah, well, like I said, I still liked it. It's just not something I...
Was that your first 3D Zelda?
No.
Which one was your first?
Ocarina of Time.
Really? I thought you didn't have a 64.
My friend did.
Oh, your friend did. Okay.
And I also...
Maybe that's why, because I feel like a lot of people, at least for me,
true.
I didn't play Ocarina when I had a 64. I played that much later.
I had played that before, so...
Wind Waker was my first 3D.
Yeah, that was my first Zelda, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or at least...
That would be another reason why you
the ending, getting the Triforce is definitely the worst part. It ruins that whole game.
Well, luckily they streamlined that in the Wii U version. But...
What about Twilight? That was also GameCube. Were you more...
Well, I played it on the Wii, but...
Well, then never mind. We'll save that for next time.
Yeah, that's 2007-ish, I think.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Somewhere around there. But yeah, no, I played it on the Wii.
Oh, okay. I had it for both. That's why.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to think of some of the games I had for...
Super Monkey Ball.
I mean,
I never had that. No, the Ape Escape for the PS2 was just... I liked it, but I still don't hold it to a very high regard.
Fair enough.
I just had a thought and I lost it. Shit.
What about Paper Mario?
Yes, that's where I was going.
I'm just trying to think of your old room with all your junk.
Paper Mario I liked a lot.
That was Thousand Year Door?
Yes, and unfortunately it was the last of its kind. Because the first one was similar to it. Thousand Year Door continued that, and then they just kind of kept repeatedly taking different turns with that franchise. So, yeah. I mean, that just kind of continued my turn-based RPG.
Did you get that one around the same time as Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, I got it at the same time.
Okay. And you did not touch Mario, right? Is that how that went?
I started it, and then I picked up Kingdom Hearts, and I basically played that for a good amount of time before I went back to that.
You want to talk about your Sephiroth?
All right, yes. I think a lot of guides recommend you do that fight at level 60 on the original version, because I know that's not the case in the remakes. And I did it at 55, I think, which is still a good chunk lower.
Yeah, because that game, especially, I think after like level 50, the leveling scale is like significant per level.
Yeah.
Because I think you can beat the original at 50.
Yes.
Pretty easy. You can't do that in the remake.
No,
I remember we tried that.
And that's why I said that.
In our second playthrough, when it was like, oh yeah, we can steamroll through this, and it is much harder.
Yes.
Or we got much worse.
Yeah,
I don't know
one
which
or two.
one it
I don't
was.
freaking know. We were just trying to push through it too hard. But look, 12-year-old me discovered that, hey, every time you finish the Sephiroth fight, you level up. Guaranteed. So I figured, well, I'm just going to keep leveling up. And I pretty much went from 55 to 99.
Just from Sephiroth.
Just from Sephiroth, because I got so good at the fight.
So 44 times
Yep.
you beat him?
Yep.
I have not even attempted to fight him, so good on you. And I assume probably between 90 and 99, did you still level up?
Still guaranteed.
Really?
If I remember right now, I was thinking.
12 years ago?
Yeah, at least. But
Half
yeah.
a lifetime ago?
Yeah. But I'm still pretty sure, like, each one, it guaranteed to level up.
One day I'll do that. I have the remap, all the big PS4 bundle, which I'll get to eventually.
Oh, have they fixed
But
it?
apparently it's harder on
Yeah.
that one because they changed the frame rate to 60 frames per second, and his attacks are quicker than they used to be, so you can't dodge them. So, I don't know. Apparently they had an update for that somewhat fixed it, but who knows. It's a discovery for another day for me.
I'm trying to think of what else I had during that time. I played a lot.
Yeah.
What would you say would be like your hidden gem? of
My
that
hidden
time?
gem from that time?
Yeah, if you want a couple minutes to think about it, you can.
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure what that is off the top of my head right now.
Okay. How about your PS3 era stuff? Because we're also going to go into that.
Yeah.
We're just not going to touch upon like the
well, the PS3, I would include the Wii.
Yeah, of course,
I
that gen.
because I got the Wii first. Cause,
Do you want to cover like early years of that?
yeah, no,
Okay.
that's fine. Because I don't
feel
think I
like
got
you
my
can-
PS3 until like 2010.
I feel like you can break up that generation pretty easily into early and later.
Yeah. Well, because it was
Oh, yeah.
that was
'Cause
a
it was
long
long.
generation. Yeah.
Compared to the others, which were much, much shorter.
Well, like I said, I got Twilight Princess for the Wii. I think I
Mhm.
beat it in a week.
Took me years
No guide.
because I just put it down.
I have the really nice guide for that. I never use it. It just looked cool when it was on sale.
Yeah.
So I got it. Just
But,
hanging out.
Yeah, no, I beat it in a week, no guide. I remember talking to a friend of mine who moved to New York, and he had been playing it for the past month and had not finished it. He was a little pissed at me when I told him.
Parts of that game are difficult.
Yes.
I got stuck in the water temple there.
Well, everybody. hates
Welcome
it.
to Zelda.
Yeah, no, right.
I know.
It's one of the weaker dungeons in that game anyway, so that's not entirely surprising.
I think the one thing I really like Twilight as well, but I hate replaying it because that intro is just
No, the intro is really bad.
long.
A lot of people
pointless.
complain about that.
It's really cool in the beginning. I really liked it because I know it's just a tutorial. Like, here's how you swing a sword. Here's how you do all this. But it was just like really cool with like a different perspective on it, at least to me at the time. I don't know. It was just like interesting that like you're living in this little town and like doing all this stuff. I know that's how Ocarina
and I
starts.
think that's the way they're trying to do it.
Yeah,
But
like you're
they
supposed to
just
feel a connection
drew it out
with
too
people
much.
other than you and Zelda and like Ganon, obviously.
You know, was one part of that game that I thought was super cool is when you talk to like that warrior from the past.
Yeah.
That guy's super cool. I love it when they do those tutorials. I always thought that was super neat.
Well, if I remember right, like the timeline, he's like the hero of time or something.
Yeah.
I believe.
This timeline's so
Man,
convoluted.
I hate that
remember anymore.
timeline.
It's
But
bullshit.
I feel
The recent game has screwed it up anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
I feel like we could have a whole segment on that in
Yeah.
the future where I would argue that I hate that timeline and I completely ignore it. Because
A lot of people do.
Because guess what? Hate to break it to everyone, just a game.
Yeah.
Doesn't need an official timeline. No matter what Nintendo says, I just believe they're all separate.
Well, they've consistently like said, "Oh, hey, yeah, the game's in this part of the timeline," and then they like break that.
I just feel like
they
it's
never
so,
stick to
I feel
it.
like it's so forced when they
Oh, yeah.
when they put that together because people are like, we want a timeline. It's like, well, there's not one. We want a timeline.
Yeah, well,
Okay. we'll
That's
pull
like
it
trying
together.
to force the Metal Gear games together, like the early ones.
Oh yeah, the early ones are obscured. Like after I would say from like 2. Two's
No,
kinda
I mean
cool.
like trying to get the Metal Gear ones into the Metal Gear Solid ones.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the old 2D ones or whatever.
the what is it? The arcadey one.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And that timeline's already.
Oh, it's
a
already.
mess.
It's already.
I remember playing 3 and 5 around the same time and like fully understanding that, and now I don't even know where to start. It all makes sense when you play it.
The fact that you
Hamburgers.
You can
That's all
download an encyclopedia for the PS3 that explains the entire timeline. Says your timeline's screwed up. That's what that says. What the fuck was I talking about?
Twilight.
Oh,
Way off topic.
All right, I'm gonna back up, because I missed one. Let's see. This was 8th grade, so Jesus.
It was 2007, 2006. 2006
Yes,
2006.
this is Christmas break 2006. Okay, I borrowed this game from a friend because I wanted to try it. I had played a DS version, spin-off of one of them, and I liked it, but I wanted more. And he had bought one.
So you went with the
watered down.
No, the Cold Stone Creamery. You liked it, and now you gotta love it.
Yes, exactly.
What's the one after that?
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. There you go.
But no, I
can't wait to play it.
I borrowed Metroid Prime from him, and I think I beat it in 3 days or something. Jesus. It was really bad.
That's when you first started playing it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was really later on.
That's weird. I thought that was one of the ones you got your GameCube with or something.
Nope. Game I got my GameCube with was.
That is a game I always associate with you, but when you were struggling to think of games to talk about, it did not pop into my mind at all.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me.
That's a pretty big one for me. Because I played Metroid Prime, never played Echoes for the longest time.
Yep.
Echoes always seemed cool.
And apparently that was not a bad thing to be skipping for a little while. Because then I got Corruption for the Wii. That's how I just remembered that. And I loved that one also. I played through that one a couple times, though I never beat it on hard. Because I could never finish the end.
Other M.
I could rant about that
Tire
for like
Fire,
a half an hour.
Tire Fire episode. That'll be good.
Yeah, right. But that got me into the Metroidvania genre, as they call it.
Collecting upgrades.
Yes.
Working through a hub world kind of thing.
Yep. And unfortunately, some games claim that they're Metroidvania and then very, very quickly fall apart and show that they are not indeed that. And it's very disappointing when you find that.
I feel like when games like Metroid comes out, or Metroid Prime, sorry, because Metroid's been out for a while, and they make that kind of game, and then they have that title, or like the Metroidvania, or whatever you called it, and then every other producer wants to make the next one. I feel like that's just like setting up for failure. You should let the community define like what your genre should be called, and then just continue pushing on what you like to do.
I think that's. I'm trying to think of how Axiom Verge described itself.
Because I mean, you can definitely get influences from games.
Oh
like
yeah,
that
no, definitely.
And make a game very similar to it. But I think when you go up being like, "This is what I want to make," but I want to make it my own, you fuck up.
Nobody has managed to make something as compelling in the first-person view, a Metroid Prime clone, if you want to call it that. I'm going to call it a clone.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been done.
Replicated.
It hasn't been replicated at all.
Mm-hmm.
That is very one of a kind right now because no one's done it.
That's a good
because every
point.
time a company wants to make a shooter, they go full shooter.
I mean, shit, even Metroid hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Since 3.
So
because that's even arguable because it's more than one hub world.
Yeah.
Multiple. So it's really since the first one.
Yeah.
I like to argue a point that Rayman Raving Rabbids is a great first-person shooter type Metroidvania game. You get to shoot plunges and you get upgrades, and it's
And there's rabbits.
Very story driven.
I think that's fair.
The technical.
I think he just debunked your whole argument. I think we have to move on now. We're running out of time.
The technical genre that what people have described Prime as was a first-person adventure.
Oh.
And that hasn't been done again.
Okay.
So. That's how they describe that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I mean, I guess
I haven't dug to figure.
I guess like Skyrim, if you play it in first person, could you argue that?
That's an RPG.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay. Well then, I don't know anything.
Yeah, no, it's a really difficult, I don't know, genre to replicate, I guess, because it.
Do you think this might be the reason why Nintendo's kind of like laying off from going back to it because it's so
Maybe.
hard to replicate?
Probably.
And they don't want to break that image or like nostalgia in people's minds.
Well, I don't think retro's gonna let anybody else do it. Because retro basically.
Because sometimes you have like that perfect formula, and you want more of it, but when you get more, you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. As the series goes on, it gets worse.
Riddle me this. Would you consider Bioshock to be a first-person adventure game, or do you consider that just a first-person shooter?
That's a generic shooter.
Oh, yeah.
There's no backtracking.
Yeah, that's true. You pretty much go from one section to the next section. It's like, yeah.
You backtrack within that individual section.
Yeah. But
you can't. Like,
but it's choreographed. It's scripted for you to do that.
Yeah, it's justified. Yeah, that's fine. I was just throwing that out.
Because with a first-person adventure, there's backtracking.
Yeah.
It's part of the genre. It's the way it is because you got this item now. Somewhere there is now something that you can get through because you got that one item. Yeah. You don't know where it is. You might have seen it in passing and you might have remembered and you go there. That's what that genre is, and that's what it thrives on because it's you looking around, doing what you need to do to figure out really what the hell's going on. But
okay, yeah. Fine with me.
Would a game like, I know this isn't first person, well I have one for first person if this one doesn't work out, but the original Dead Space was kind of like that where you had to backtrack a bit.
You did have to backtrack
a lot
yeah.
in that one.
It's like a third person adventure horror.
Yeah. It was in the third person though. I mean, it wasn't like exclusively like you had to backtrack all the time, but there's definitely a lot of segments where it's like,
oh yeah, you
have to go here and put this power cell in, but on the way back you might be able to get an item later on in order to open this door.
Does it say that you got... When you get that item, does something say, hey, you can do this now?
No.
Okay.
Just gotta know.
It might tell you like, now you can open this door.
Oh yeah, well even Metroid.
So now you know how it works, then you'd be like, I've seen this door before somewhere else earlier on in the library or wherever.
Yep.
And you can also, like in Alien Isolation, the newer one, that's first person, and there's a lot of backtracking in the second half of that game, and there's a lot of stuff that you're not able to access until you get certain items that you'll remember, like, oh, I can use the blowtorch here, but I don't have it yet. I'll go back and I'll be able to use it this time when I have to go back the second or third time. Mm-hmm. And that one is in first person. It's different than a Metroid or Metroid Prime in that aspect, but similar.
I still think the stipulation of first person adventure is what separates that.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right.
It's not like, I'm not saying like this is the exact clone. This is exactly what it is.
The similarities are there. Yeah. Okay.
That would be if I had to think and make an argument of which game after Metroid Prime. Those would be the two I would argue for. I believe.
Fair enough.
After I argue Skyrim and then get shot down by the part, but whatever.
But yeah.
Any other games?
Early Wii. No, not really.
Okay.
Nothing on the PS3?
I didn't get my PS3 until like 2010.
Alright then, well,
So,
that's the cutoff.
Yeah.
You didn't make it.
Alright.
I remember a couple things. One thing that you guys will not relate to at all, but I play a lot of sports games. And so I remember on the GameCube, that was the big system. I didn't have a PS2.
Do you consider Xbox. Harry Potter Quidditch a sports game?
Oh, I'll get to that. Don't you worry. That's my next point.
You laugh. I played that.
Oh, no. I played it too.
Yeah, we all played that.
Great game. Awesome. So playing in the World Cup. Amazing.
Super.
Ireland is No, it's fine.
I find it repetitive. That's why
It
I
is
stopped.
repetitive, but welcome to sports games and the evolution.
And that's probably why I discovered I didn't like it. Anyway.
But one thing with them is, like, I remember going to Blockbuster, aging myself here, and sports games are just bullshit. Let me tell you that. Just off the bat, they're complete bullshit because it's literally EA and whoever else makes them. I think 2K. I'll go with those two.
Yes.
Because those are the two that make stuff. EA doesn't do it as much anymore, but back in the early 2000s, they did a lot. Like, all they make now is Madden and I think NHL. That's it. Hockey.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Who makes the show?
that's their own independent company.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Show is their own. They literally just
They're
make
the best,
baseball.
though, right?
Oh, they are the best.
Yeah.
But sports games are just bullshit. Because it's literally just like, you get new players, people retire, people come in. I'll use Madden because it's the easiest one to talk about. People get drafted from college, then you can play as them in Madden the next year. But if, like, you play the previous year, you don't get that same player. Graphics really don't change in their own generation. Like
At
the
this point anymore.
GameCube era, like, all that shit's the same. Slightly different with shaders, but it's really the same game, just different skins. And you're going to pay $60 or $50 at the time for the same game.
Until a game gets a crap-tastic physics engine.
Oh, well, that's the worst. Like, that's for a later time. But this engine was decent. It was just like, you drop back and you throw. And, like, it wasn't complicated. It was easy. It was like, you're a quarterback, and then people with, like, the different buttons, like, where you could throw would be over their head. And that was about it. You couldn't really, like... Now you can, like, project the ball, like, where you want it. If you want it high, you want it low, if you want to lob it. This game was just like, fuck you, this is how you're going to throw it.
Point A to point B.
Yep. And it was just, like, very simple, very, like, streamlined. It was cool.
I remember playing that at your place.
Yeah, and it was just, like, easy. And the graphics didn't matter because, I mean, at the time it was great. If you go back now, they suck.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
It's terrible. But at the time, for its time, it was good. So I feel like going back to games like that, you have to appreciate the era that it was in, in terms of graphics. Because you could easily go back in anything from that era and be like, this looks like garbage. And it's like, well, yes. Comparatively to now,
it's either...
terrible.
That's why cartoon games age better, is because you don't have as much, like...
A game with a proper artistic direction will age fine.
Yes.
Do you really think sports games have a proper artistic?
No, they do
you
not.
Think, you
And
think
that's why they
EA's
don't
sitting
age.
there like, man, I want to make Tom Brady look really artistic. No.
I'm just saying.
If somebody,
I know.
And if somebody somehow managed to make a colorized whatever version of a sports game, it would probably be.
Well, that's what I mean with the sports games. Like, you're going to look at it and be like, this is pretty. Or it's like, no, I want to throw 1,000,000 touchdowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to throw 1,000,000 touchdowns. I don't give a shit what it looks like.
I'm trying to remember which one it is. It's either the latest Madden that came out for PC or the latest NHL.
Madden hasn't been on PC in a long time.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
I'm going to guess NHL.
Yeah,
I'm
probably
pretty sure it's on there.
NHL then. But there's a community that just keeps modding the newer players into the original game.
Seriously, I remember being like 10 years old and being like, they should just sell one thing, like just one unit for like $50 or whatever, and every year you pay like 5 or 10 and you just get an upgrade. Like, I feel like that would be better, but obviously you're not going to do it because if you can sell something for $60 every year, you're going to sell it for $60 every year. I do not blame you at all. Like, that's why I don't like business.
And
that's
that's why, including you, a lot of people skip like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, like now I just wait for big updates. Like, I'm a big fan of the show because EA used to make MVP Baseball, which was awesome. And then they lost the license, and then 2K made it, and 2K sucked at it. And then the show came along and was like, we're going to make an awesome baseball game, but it's only for the PlayStation. And I didn't have a PlayStation until the PS4, so I bought, I think...
You have the PSP, didn't you?
Yeah, I had it for the PSP for a while, and then I had it for the Vita. So I own the 13th, or the show 2013, I own 2015, because they were significant updates in my eyes.
Yep.
And now I just sit on those because I don't care what it looks like. It's just fun to hit home runs. But my point with sports games is, like, now they have a system in pretty much every single one where it's like, you can do your own story, so you make your own guy, and you just play them. Just them, no one else. So if it's baseball, you do all their at-bats, you only field when they're on. But like back in the day on the GameCube with like MVP Baseball with EA and all the different ones, you would just play as a team. You didn't get like a lock on a player. So it was interesting to go in to create a player, and it's like, I want to make myself. And like you would make up those own stories while playing, even if it's just like simulating a season, playing a season, and you'd be like super pumped when like your created guy would come up and be like, this is my turn. Yep. All these other guys suck. So, I mean, that was interesting to me.
What are your favorite sports teams, names, or franchises you've created over the years?
Well, what they used to do, because I don't know if it's a licensing thing anymore, or whatever it was, you used to be able to, they actually made college football games, which they can't do anymore, because people bitch and moan that college players should get paid, and then they use their likeliness in their game, and people get pissed off, so they don't make them anymore. So I lived through a time where you could play college football, which was awesome, and you can make your own college, which was interesting.
That's sick.
I think you made something once, maybe.
Yeah, I made some. Was that the DS one?
Maybe. It was like Alaskan Arctics or something.
The Alaska
like in the middle
Arctics.
of nowhere.
Yep. I was like, this is dumb. It's got penguins.
I remember making.
No penguins.
I remember making a team from Texas, and their stadium was all pink. Just because I thought it was funny, because I thought Texans didn't like pink when I was like 8. So I laughed at it for a while. And you can do that with like baseball games. You can't do that anymore. You used to be able to make stadiums. And I always made Strawberry Fields because I was really into the Beatles.
Yep.
So I'd tear down Fenway Park, unfortunately. And then I'd make Strawberry Fields, and you could like set prices. Like, do you remember that old computer game in elementary school where you could run simulations of like, I'm going to sell a hot dog for $1 and like sell a soda for 75 cents, and then you could see how much money you made.
Yeah.
And then you could change the price points. It was like that.
It's like, yeah, come in. It's like $3 tickets to get in, and then $20 hot dogs.
Yeah. So that part was cool, and then they don't do that anymore, and that's something I'm waiting in for like this generation is like, I just want to make a stadium. I want to make my own team. Like, they kind of have it where you collect, like, baseball cards now.
You like the little bullshit. It's fun to do the little bullshit. Yeah, it's always the little bullshit.
But now it's like, you can buy card packs with this virtual money that you can either pay for or get from playing. And it's like, I don't want that. I just want to make my own team and not buy cards that don't actually exist.
Yeah, really.
So I don't like that part anymore. But another thing from that era...
Wait, that's a microtransaction? Like, people are actually paying money to buy card packs?
Yeah, you
like
can...
Hearthstone?
In the show, at least, and
them?
Madden, they've, like, adapted this card system where you can do challenges online and be like, you can unlock this Ken Griffey card, who's a baseball player.
Yeah.
And you can get him on your team, and then... It's weird because you have to sign, like, contracts, so you have to spend the virtual money that you made to keep him on your team, and you only have him for a certain amount of time. You can only use him a certain amount of time, and I'm like... I don't want this. This is close to what I want, but it is not what I want. So that's something I liked, where you could, in the old versions of games, you could just make a super team if you wanted, and just, it was really easy.
Rando question. Has there ever been, like, how do I put it? Has there ever been, like, a cheat code or a expansion pack or something like that, or, like, a hidden special something where it's like in one of those baseball games you could unlock like Babe Ruth or Joe DiMaggio?
Yeah, in the MVP Baseball 2004, 2005, which is probably my favorite baseball game. Better than the show.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But
it's not dated.
It's like,
you can unlock old stadiums, and each team had a legend or multiple legends, and you could put in cheat codes and you could play as those guys.
That is so cool.
And they actually had a feature where the filter of it, so it would look...
Sepia?
Yeah, it would look like old-timey.
That is so cool.
They don't do that shit anymore.
That was 04
awesome.
No games do that anymore.
05, I want to say. It might have been 04.
I might seek that one out because that actually sounds really cool.
It's really neat. It was like easy cheat codes, and they used to have like the cheat code was whoever won the EA like prize or contest that year. It would be that person's name. It'd be like Ed Sanchez or something. And you type it in and be like, "Oh, you won," and show the guy's picture.
That's super cool.
Yeah, they don't do stuff like that anymore.
Well, yeah, because now they can just charge you $5 for unlocking that.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't like it.
Yep.
And those things used to take up a ton of blocks. Sports games.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
It's like 1,000 memory blocks for a sports game.
Yeah, that part was nuts, but it was awesome. It was cool. But another thing from that era that I remember really distinctly that really stands out to me is licensed games. So, like, Harry Potter was big at the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, that was
Lord of
EA,
the Rings.
EA game.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. This is back when EA was good, somewhat.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember Prisoner of Azkaban in Harry Potter, the third one. Because
that was a good one.
It was a good one because I didn't play a lot of open world, I'm going to use quotation marks, because what I remember, if I go back to this, I'm going to hate this game, so I'm never going to go back to it. Yeah. But I remember you were able to walk around the grounds.
You could be castle and shit.
Yeah, and some of that would unlock later. So you would walk around, and it's like, in that one they had Buckbeak.
You could fly around.
Fly him around, and it would be like, oh, you need to go to Defense Against the Dark Arts, or whatever lesson they wanted you to go to, and you could say, nah, fuck that, I'm going to go outside, and you'd walk across that iconic bridge. Be like, I'm going to fly Buckbeak around, and it's not really that far, you get to fly it. But you can fly under the bridge, you can go on top, you can cruise around the castle, go by the forest and land, and be like, okay, now I'm going to go to class. And it's like, okay, now I want to climb the tower and, like, look around. So it was, like, somewhat open world in my eyes, but really not. I just thought it was cool you could fly Buckbeak at any time. But another game that really stands out, and most people probably will never make this connection, but I'm going to, and I'm also going to call out fucking Sefton Hill, the guy who made Batman Arkham series. There was a game before him that was the exact same game that he made that was also Batman. And it was Batman Begins, the game that was based off of the first movie of Nolan trilogy. Same exact game. You can go back and play that, same game. Use the same fear tactics and shadows, and using the X-ray vision.
Really?
Yup.
Wow.
And when I played, because I remember really liking that game, and I got really into it, and you got to do the Batmobile, and you had to use, like, fear, and you got to interrogate people. That's cool. And I was like, this game is awesome. In reality, it's probably not, but however old I was at the time, I thought it was good. And then when Arkham Asylum got announced, I was like, wow, that's just like this game. And I was really surprised that no one was calling them out for that. It was a very, very similar game.
Definitely didn't review as well, apparently.
What, the Batman Begins game?
Yeah.
It was still fun in my eyes. I enjoyed it a lot. It was cool because I remember games like even the Lord of the Rings ones, that one had movie clips in it, which is something they didn't do. And the Lord of the Rings games, I remember, even though it's probably super shitty it's super shitty now, but in my mind it was really cool. They would show the movie clip and they would transition to the game.
I played one of those somewhat recently, and it just...
It sucks, doesn't it?
Yes. But at the
time, it was cool.
At the same time, it's just like, you looking back, it's like, yeah, that was super cool back then.
At the time. That's what you gotta take it as, I feel like.
Yeah, and I still love it. I still think it is.
Because, I mean, even think about it. If you go back to play the original Super Mario, or like Pong, or Frogger, or any of those games, like Centipede, or anything, like, those graphics aren't good. The time they're cool. You still like them.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Now, if I remember right, because I do remember when Batman Begins came out and the game came out, I remember one of the highlights of that game was the fact that his cape was physics-based, and it actually, like, clipped into things and went over things. Like, that was a highlight in that game. That's cool. I remember people talking about that.
You can go back. You should really go back and look at that game. It is it's not a carbon copy of what...
A lot of things were derived from it.
A lot of things that, like, worked but before their time almost, they implemented. And I should have asked Sefton Hill. I'll go into the story about how I met Sefton Hill and how I called him a piece of shit, basically. But I should have called him out, and I really thought about that when we met him. So I'll transition into that part because...
We'll meet him again.
I'll go into it right now. Yeah. So, me and Zadius Prime went to Comic-Con in New York 2011, 12?
2011.
The year that City came out.
12. Because we started school in 2011. Yeah, because we graduated in 2011. Yeah. So, summer 2012, we went to Comic-Con in New York. or something. October.
Yeah,
No, it was 2011.
Yeah. I went with you guys in 2012.
So we went in 2011. It was in the fall. It wasn't in summer.
Okay, but when did City come out?
2011.
Did it? Okay.
Yep. Anyway, 2011, whatever year that game came out, you can look it up at home. Don't quote me on it. So anyway, 2011, we go to this thing, and I was really pumped because Arkham City was supposed to come out the following, because I think the convention ran from Friday to Sunday. That game was supposed to come out that Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, and they had a big thing for it. They had a big promo for it at the New York Comic-Con.
Didn't it crash?
The one next to us.
The one next to us crashed. So anyway, I was super pumped. I really liked the Arkham series. I played that, and I beat it in like 2 days when I played it, which is not a long game, but for me at the time, I don't really binge too many things.
No.
So it's like, it's very rare for me to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and beat this. It takes me like months. This took me 2 days. And I'm a big Batman fan, so I was really pumped when they came out for the Xbox. So I got all the Riddler trophies, and I was really excited. But if you remember that game, it was like really awesome until you get to like those last 3 bosses. You got Killer Croc, which sucks. You got Poison Ivy, which is decent. This is a good fight.
Yeah.
And you got the Joker, which is a fucking train wreck, jacked up and dumb. I didn't like the ending. And so I felt like that game was really, really good up to that point, and then it like peaked again, and then it went back down. But it was still fun. I still really enjoyed it. I was really excited for City. So like we're going to this convention, and I'm like, oh man, I hope I see Sefton Hill, which no one knows who that guy is. He's the lead director of the game.
Yep.
And like he's been doing a bunch of promos for City, and I was like super pumped, and I knew exactly who he was, and I like knew everything he was gonna say and everything he was promoting. I was pumped. I was like, I'm gonna meet this guy because no one's gonna know who he is. So we go there, we look at their little like booth kind of thing where they have like all the action figures, and like they have a demo you can play, and like all this other stuff you can look at. And I'm just looking around, I'm like, gotta find Sefton. I'm gonna find Sefton. And he was right there. People just walking by him. I'm like eyeing him. I'm like, I know you. So I bring over Zetas. I'm like, yo, we're gonna get a picture of this guy, but I ask him one thing. And so I go up to him. I'm like, oh, like I introduce myself. I'm like a big fan. Like I'm really looking forward to it. He's like, awesome. He's like really excited. I'm like, oh, one problem. One problem. Your Killer Croc fight was so lackluster. It was like cat and mouse. And he looked at me. He's like, yeah, you're right. Well, he knew. You were there.
He didn't disagree with you at all.
He agreed. Like, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. He's like, City is much better, which it was. And then I got a picture with him. Yep. So he was cool with
and
it.
a keychain.
I got a keychain from the other guy.
I still got that.
Dax, I have mine somewhere. It's all beaten to shit. The promo guy. He does not do anything on the game. The guy we got it from. He just promotes it.
He's a hype man?
He's a hype man. It's Dax something. He was cool.
Dax Flame?
Yeah. Got a picture of him. He was much more excited to take a picture with me than Sefton Hill. Sefton Hill was having none of it.
Hype man wants some hype. Hype his way.
But it was cool. So if you ever meet your favorite game director, just tell them what you don't like and see what they say. Because sometimes it works out all right. But I think that's a majority of what I have to say. Because right now, like, licensing games are terrible. There was a time when they weren't bad.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you even had the Quidditch game, which was like a sports/license game, which was definitely repetitive. But it was fun.
There was a difficulty curve facing those other teams.
It showed different schools. That's what I liked about it.
The different countries.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, because that's what in the movies, in the books, they go more into like Quidditch and all that stuff. But in the movies, you saw Gryffindor and Slytherin.
One thing I thought that was cool about that game is they basically had achievements before achievements were a thing.
Yeah, because of the cards, right?
Yeah, they had all the cards. It was like challenge. They had lots of challenges. It was like, oh yeah, beat someone without them scoring any points and stuff like that. I was like,
yeah, that's
that was
true.
Super cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And they had all those like cards you could earn.
And of course you had Lord of the Rings, which was big, and those games are fun.
Oh,
yeah. There was a turn-based Lord of the Rings game, if I remember right.
War in the North? Shadows of Mordor?
I never
Not Shadows of Mordor. It was in that GameCube era.
Yeah.
It was 2 discs.
Yeah, you had to fight the
Third War.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Because they made an X-Men game like that, too.
Oh, wow.
Age of Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was interesting. But that was like a good kind of like era where like license, because like video games are like starting to like
Hype.
take off
Yeah.
a little bit more.
And everyone was really open to it, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what
like,
they do with this."
Because they made a lot of games that were like arcadey almost.
Yeah.
At least from what I remember from the X-Men one. It was
Mhm.
kinda like
Yeah,
Well, there's
over the
I
top.
mean, there's a lot of the old X-Men fighters.
Yeah.
So.
But now they're just like, hey, look, money. It's a video game. People will buy it.
Yeah.
Put no effort into it.
Super low effort ones.
So I feel like licensed games at that time were definitely cool.
Well,
Cool beans.
I need to try playing Shadow of Mordor at some point.
Yeah. That's good.
Because I've heard really good things about that.
Yep. Anything else from you?
I mean, that's about it. I mean, I feel like other stuff that influenced me at that time, Zadius has also talked about.
Mm.
Okay.
And I'm sure you will, so I'll chime in.
Okay. But for now, we're gonna take a quick break.
Oh yeah,
here's a word.
we got sponsors now.
Yep. Here's a word from our sponsors. Hey, what's going on? Come on down to Greasy Pete's Pizza. We're crazy over here. You want anything on the pizza? We'll just fucking put it on the fucking pizza. You want bubblegum wrappers on your pizza? Yeah, we got some fucking bubblegum. Hey, what do you want on your pizza, mister?
I want pineapple.
Fuck you. Yeah, we'll put fucking pineapple, you shitlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put anything on. We want some foliage on your pizza? Yeah, you want some killer bees?
I want pepperoni, not to be confused with pepperoni.
Yeah, we'll put some of that fucking shit on it. Yeah, it's real good. It's
Hell
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, what do you want on your pizza, man?
I want cereal on my pizza.
You want okay? You want milk too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. We'll put all that on pizza. Okay, you can get it in large or like really large. Come on down. Come on down to the pizza place. Get your pizza. And we're back.
That was a good ad.
Yes.
I'm just gonna assume it's a good ad.
That was a really
We're gonna
fucking good ad.
Put it in after. Just gonna assume it was good. Good old corporate sponsors we got.
I think it's on me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, GameCube era. So, last time I touched upon Pikmin, but beyond that is like Luigi's Mansion. That was the one I got with the GameCube. That and Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. And like I said before, GameCube was my first like console. So playing Luigi's Mansion, I'd sit down and I would just sit there for hours trying to figure out how to like go around, and it was my first real game to play through, and I hadn't seen anything like with those graphics before, and like as we were saying before, it's like looking back, it's like those graphics are okay. Nothing.
But
I would say
at the
Luigi's Mansion aged fine.
Yeah, but at the I'm just saying like at the time my dad was looking at it, he's like, that looks real. I was like, that is a cartoon, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I thought the graphics were really cool back then and now still. Some other games from that era though that were more impactful than that. Jedi Outcast, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Now that was a game that I played all the time, and you can attest to that.
Yeah, we used to play that before school sometimes.
Yep, you
There
come.
was like a 90-minute delay. I used to go to his house and we played Jedi Outcast.
Waiting for the bus.
all
It's
the
like
time.
you go into multiplayer and everyone just like you set up like 20 bots and everyone just has like a lightsaber and you're just hacking and slashing at things. And it was
That's the multiplayer I like that you don't have anymore. You had bots.
Yep.
Even though bots are shitty, it's still fun.
Yep. And you just
It's one of the reasons why I like playing Unreal Tournament.
and you can put on a map like a Star Destroyer and everyone's just running around inside this like ship and everyone slash each other. Or we put on the dumb temple and you just see like lightsabers running across the map. It's like, oh, this fucker's over there. Gotta run over
Definitely
there.
cool.
But it was really neat.
I remember going back to Luigi's Mansion. I remember playing that at your house because I didn't have a GameCube till a year or so after you had one. Hated that game. I didn't know how to use a C-stick.
Oh, right.
Because it's hard.
Yep.
When you first use it, it's very hard. And like going to his house like once in a while it's just like I don't know how to use it.
Yeah, because that's before that. It's like N64 just had
It was just
a
there.
stick.
Yeah, it was just a stick. Now you got 2 sticks, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
That-
Very confusing for me at the time.
That reminds me. This is with PlayStation now. I don't know if you've ever seen an original PlayStation controller before.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's buttons.
Yes, correct. But there was one button in between both analog sticks.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was?
No.
It turned on the analog sticks.
Oh.
Oh, yes. That used to confuse me too.
And
when I went to my cousin's house.
for the longest time, me and my sister refused to use the analog sticks. Because a lot of games were just defaulted to it because it was the better way of fucking playing the game.
Yeah.
But we always turned it off.
Why though?
Because we just didn't like it.
Oh. Okay.
They were weird the first time.
Yeah, like just thinking.
Like
back
now
to
it's
that.
second nature to
Oh,
me,
yeah.
but I do remember a time
You
where
look
I
at
did not
controller and be
like
like,
them.
what? There's no analog sticks? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no, I just think that just reminded me of the fact that it took me a while to get used to an analog stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when the PlayStation first came out, the controller had no analog sticks.
Yep.
So, and that was like a big thing when they released that. So,
That was neato.
anyway, continue.
Evolution of
Derail.
controllers. Freaking N64 controller just has a giant fucking thing in
Nintendo
it.
just got this, like, Xbox and, like, Sega, I guess you could, or Dreamcast, you could like, mix into that same thing. And then, like, PlayStation, the only thing is they added analog sticks in the second one, and then they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo's just like, woo! It's like brick, the oval, 3-prong thing.
Trident.
Trident. Yeah, and it's like.
And then we'll get back to some sensible things, and then we're just gonna give
And then
you
it's
this
like
fucking
a really
dildo.
comfortable controller with the GameCube, which I still think is the best controller that I ever used, is that one. And then dildo, and then flat screen TV, and then nunchucks. So do whatever, man. Like, just do what you want. I don't even know what the next one's gonna be. Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah, so another game from that era that we also played the shit out of in groups, Nightfire.
Oh, 007, yeah.
That we actually played a couple weeks ago.
It was good. And our guest from last week threw up playing that game. He won't like me saying it, but I don't care. He's not actually going to listen to it. I doubt many people will get to this point in the podcast. So you get a treat from hearing this story.
If you made it this far.
Because he drank 2 beers and threw up. And actually, before the last podcast, he also threw up because we had to do like 16 takes to get the intro right. Anyway, continue, please. I also forget what his name was.
Big Papa.
Big Papa.
Oh yeah, that's what.
He threw up. So.
Cool Papa. Something.
Cool Papa. So
Son generic.
Leave a comment letting me know that you actually got to hear this segment. I would really appreciate it that someone was able to hear that Cool Papa threw up.
I'm going first next time because people quit listening before we get to my discussions when we go
Fine.
around.
I'm always going to be in the middle, so it's not going to matter.
But yeah, Nightfire. It's just like you get the Sentinel, and everyone just goes to their corners of the map, and they just shoot guided missiles at each other, and that's the funnest.
And it's still
thing.
fun.
Hear that? The snipers are fun, and the golden gun is fun, and Odd Jobs has fun.
Yeah.
Just one hit kill. All of those are one hit kills, and that's the best way to play the game.
And it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just trying to hunt each other down. Fucking helicopters everywhere.
And you can screen look.
Oh yeah. God damn.
Which is still cheap, but still fun because we all do it.
It adds to the
Oh, yeah.
chaos.
And no one will admit to it.
It
We all
adds
do
to the
it.
chaos.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I know where, like, you hid in the house.
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
still impossible to hit you for some reason.
Yeah, I had just that.
You had that right area where, like, if you hit the side of the building, you were not in a space where you could hit. But it was also, like, where you couldn't launch the missile in without, like, immediately hitting the wall.
Yeah.
I was able to like quickly zigzag it out of the window, but it was really hard to get through the window from outside.
That's some real strategic.
Oh, yeah.
And then if anyone got close, you just look at a screen and be like, all right, let me turn around right now. Let me do this thing. It worked. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the story for that game was cool.
Oh yeah,
gadgets and
they were
shit.
all cool.
I only
All
played
the
bits and
James
pieces of
Bonds.
that one.
It was worth.
That was on the computer that I played it on.
Cool.
And they all had theme songs,
Yes.
which everyone would skip, but they were cool.
It was good themes.
They were good.
Let's see. Super Mario Sunshine.
That's a good one.
What? What?
Still don't have that goddamn blue coin.
Oh! Wait, you're only missing one?
I think it's like one.
From what map?
Village.
You know that game is a lot shorter than you think.
Yes, it is.
Because me
We
and him
beat it in a
it
day.
in like 6 hours, I think, or like something dumb.
Something like
Yeah.
that. We just sat down one day, like, yeah, let's
Because we were gonna do Super Mario Drunk Shine, and then I got bored of drinking, and I was really determined to beat it, and then we beat it, and I was like, well, this is lame.
And it was
You
And
funny.
then we
is-
thought your GameCube died.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
You only
I just
need like
blew the dust out.
60 or 70 shine
You
sprays.
don't need a lot,
Yeah.
and they give you like half of them.
Yeah.
It's funny though. It was just like I would do 10 in a world, and then you'd go to a world and do 10, and then we just keep switching off because it's like one of us was good at like other things. But whenever we get to those stupid worlds where he takes away your fucking
Flag.
backpack,
Yeah.
I can't fucking.
I
can't do.
I did those ones.
I had no coordination for that. It's just like boom.
I remember we like stockpiled a bunch of lives, and we almost lost them all. Because we just couldn't do it.
I remember hating those when
I like those ones.
Oh my god. it's
I like
so
the
fun.
weird parts
Oh,
of
fucking
games.
die.
Kingdom Hearts with the Guitar Hero part.
Is
in the
there,
second
I remember
one.
getting really mad because I managed to finally get to one of those stages.
Mhm.
Then you die.
And then I'm just like, what the shit? Why'd they take it away?
Yeah.
That's like in.
I like the one where you race the guy.
That one's fun.
Yeah, he's always fun.
I like. I always think it's cool in games. Like I'm playing ukulele right now, and they don't give you like that triple jump, like the glide, basically.
Yep.
And that's a nice handicap of being able to jump and platform is being able to glide. And that game definitely had a glide kind of,
Oh,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
could shoot and you would be able to hover. Hover is probably a better term than glide.
Mm.
But I mean, in a platforming game, like once you get that double jump or that triple jump,
Oh yeah.
it's a nice handicap to fuck up, basically. It's
Or you could be like Rayman games where you get the helicopter here.
yeah, like that. It always works out. It's a nice handicap, but when you don't have it, it's a struggle.
Oh yeah. Like a meat boy. Oh my god. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Super Mario Sunshine. But yeah, I like. How do I put it? I like that Mario game better than any other Mario game. Just because it's different. It's got
I
that.
think a lot of people would agree with you.
Because I don't like the original Mario that much. I don't like any of the like new like Mario World or any of those type of things that come out. Any of the side scroll. I just don't find them enjoyable. I didn't even like Paper Mario.
And that's probably why
Don't
I
curse
like
me.
them, because I like Super Mario Bros. 3 and it's like Super Mario Bros. 3.
It's like I like Mario Kart. I like Mario Party, but that's like a whole different monster. This is just. It was just a completely different entry in the franchise. They were so vastly different from their same old shit.
What were you saying?
I just came to a realization that that's going to be fucking awesome on the Switch.
What?
Mario Party.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because you can take it anywhere.
Yep.
Anyway,
For 3
continue.
hours.
For 3 hours. But yeah, that was for. But yeah, that's what I had on Sunshine. And I, when I was a kid, I made it all the way to the end, and I was right below the final boss, and never just shot up there and fought him.
You never.
You didn't realize you could do that? You just didn't feel like it?
I kept falling off the clouds on the way up. I would fall off the clouds into the lava, and one day I was just like, nah, there's probably a whole bunch of bullshit I have to get through in order
And
to
it's
get
really
to the boss.
not.
Yep,
It's really
you just-
an easy
you,
fight.
You go. No, I meant like I didn't know the boss was right up there. I thought it was like the clouds, and then you have to go through a whole nother maze of things. And I was like, nope.
Had you played any of the other classic, well, it's like classic Mario games before that?
Bits and pieces, but not really.
Oh, okay. Because I knew once I saw like all the fire and whatnot. I'm just
Oh,
like,
I did like Mario 64.
okay.
But that's more in line with the
exactly.
Sunshine.
But I'm just saying though, because I knew once I hit the lava area and I saw like all the spikes and whatnot, I'm just like, this is the end of the game. Because I recognized what they were doing at that point.
Right. No, I knew the boss was coming up. I just thought I had to go through more bullshit before I got to him. But no, it was like Mario 64 and then Mario Sunshine are just like in the separate category of stuff. It's like I like the remake for the DS of Mario 64. I played the shit out of that.
Yeah, it was one of the first games I got for my DS. If I remember.
Yep. I want to play it somewhere.
That boggled my mind. Like when you're a kid and you think like this is like not like a lot of memory, but you're like you think this game's huge, and then a couple years later it's like we remade it and it's on this little chip.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like okay. And it's like we added a bunch of other stuff. It's like wow, you really made a game that I thought was huge into this really small thing.
Yep.
Physical small thing.
And they put Persona 4 on a fucking chip. So.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. And that game's huge.
And then there was Animal Crossing.
Mm.
And we were talking about this a little while ago, but on the same topic, fitting Animal Crossing, which was on a N64 in Japan before it came over here, and then they just kind of like, oh yeah, we'll put it on the disc, I guess.
Yeah, they even gave you a memory card to put it on.
Yeah, well, they had to.
That was so nice because it took up the whole thing.
Yeah, it took up all 200 and some odd blocks, didn't it?
58 blocks.
58?
That was the original size of the memory cards.
I thought it took up one.
Trust me, it is 58 to 59. Yeah, those original memory cards.
It is 58 to 300 blocks, somewhere in that range.
It's like 58, 59 is what those original cards that came with.
Yeah, because I got a
Gen 1
250 something block.
Oh, I had the 1,000 block. Super crazy. Because I played sport games, like I said, and that takes up a bunch.
Yeah, really.
A lot.
I have like 2 of the 50 ones and then like a 200, and that's it. I never played 200.
I never got beyond my 250 or so block memory card myself.
Well, that's great. Alright, I'm done. No. But one thing I thought was interesting though was, so I talked in a previous episode about how like my first introduction to video games was like going to the arcade with my dad, and then GameCube became this portal where I could bring him into the games that I was playing and stuff like that. So he would play a little Rogue Squadron and he'd like shoot up the Death Star. I was like, yeah, that's cool. But one game that he always liked to play was Simpsons Hit and Run. For those of you who don't know, it's basically the rated T version and the Simpsons version of like GTA. So it's just like you go up to someone and you take their car and then you drive around and you like run over stop signs and you get chased by the cops and you're just going on Simpsons brand shenanigans. Again, a licensed game that we were discussing. It's got all like the references to different characters. It was a really fun game. And I just remember like I'd be playing it and my dad would come home from work. He was like, all right, I'm going to get a beer and then I'm going to play some Simpsons. I was like, sounds good. Or I'd even be like not playing GameCube and he'd be like, yo, could you hook up the GameCube for me? I want to play some Simpsons. It's like, yeah, sure, that's cool. But I just thought it was funny. So I'd hook that up and he'd go goof around on that for an hour or two. But yeah, that was cool. And what was I going to say? And then moving on to like the gen after that, I had a 360. And I actually regret having a 360. It was just such a fucking bullshit. Like I played. I played too much like multiplayer shooter stuff that was just like a time sink. But I'll go into other time sink games in a different episode. But
Nothing stuck out.
Owning that console just caused more anger than it did enjoyment. One of the few games that came out of that though that I enjoyed was BioShock, and that was one of the first games for me from that era. Like, you know how every game now has that whole, oh yeah, you have the option of choice and this, that, the other thing, and everyone always looks at BioShock as like one of the first games that really gives you that aspect of choice within. It's like, okay, you enter this room, you could decide to handle all these enemies by sneaking around them and hacking this thing over here that will kill them, or you can go in guns a-blazing and you could shoot them up, or you could use your plasmid and make them attack each other, or you could go activate this camera, which will send in more drones, or you could just not go in there and go around the back way by unlocking a door. It was just like so many options. It's like all the games since then have copied that, and it doesn't feel special anymore. It's like
It's one of the reasons.
It's like more expected.
yeah, it's more expected. And back then it was just fresh.
It's one of the reasons why the Crisis today sucks.
That what today?
Crisis because
Cyrus?
Yeah.
Cyrus 2.
Because when that came out like almost at the same time as BioShock actually, because it was 2007. It was like the game was just like, all right, you need to get point A to point B. Let's punch your shit in between. You do whatever the hell you want in between those 2 points. So
Sounds like a crisis. Yeah. But yeah, BioShock was the first how do I put it? It was like I don't want to say originator, but it set the standard for that type of play.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And definitely, I feel like storytelling in games from that point on definitely changed.
It was a great story. And the thing is, that game, it had good mechanics. It had good story. It had amazing art style. I love the art style. I like the art deco of everything. It's really sharp. Even by today's standards, I still think it's attractive. Even playing the old version, not that it got the HD remake, but I'm still saying like the old one is still nice.
a lot of people would agree with you.
And then
I think the one thing with that though, with Ken Levine, after having that like twist in the middle of that game, he was kind of like forced to always have a twist in his games.
Yeah. He set his bar.
Which is not like a bad thing, but like I said earlier at some point on here, I believe like you don't have to try and copy yourself.
Yeah,
or
apparently
copy other things. Just like,
with Infinite.
That's like how people felt with J.K. Rowling when she made her book after Harry Potter.
Yeah,
because it was
would
way
agree with
different,
that.
and it was still good, but it was way different. Like
Yeah.
you said that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Infinite, apparently he had like less than a year to rewrite the entire story of the game or something.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, I read.
I was not a big fan of
that's a
Infinite.
recent thing I read about, and that's one of the reasons why the story, it starts off good and then just kind of takes a nosedive at one point.
Did they explain what happened? Why he?
It's just badly managed. The higher ups wanted something else, and they had to keep chopping it up, putting it together, chopping it up.
He has his
putting it
own
together.
company now, I think. He's
Well,
making
and I think that's
something
one of the
else.
reasons why he has his own company.
Because I remember, like, immediately after Infinite came out, he's like, "Yep, I'm done having my own studio."
I think that's the result of that.
Because
he wanted to be able to do his own thing, and they were not allowing that.
I'll touch upon this now, but so yeah, BioShock 1 for me for the longest time was like my favorite video game, which it still has a warm place in my heart, but going back to it, it just doesn't have that same
charm.
Like I've seen it a lot before, and I still recognize that it was the originator, but I still enjoy it. When I was in high school and BioShock 2 got announced, I was so excited for that.
I really like that one.
I do too.
It's definitely not as good as 1, but I feel like the order that they like 1, 2, and Infinite is the order that I actually like them.
Yeah,
which is weird.
I never finished it, so
2 was interesting. It's like they overhyped it. That was the thing. And the thing with that game too, if it's true to what you were saying about Infinite, they having to rewrite the story, they definitely had to rewrite the story mid-production on 2, and I believe I read an article or something about it. But because originally they were talking about how, so in 2 you play as a Big Daddy, basically, like a prototype Big Daddy, and I remember reading like Game Informer articles back when we read like shit on paper. I read Game Informer articles and stuff like that, and they're saying, oh, now that you're a Big Daddy, the splicers will fear you and they won't combat you right off the bat when they see you. Oh yeah, when you play that, yeah, they run straight at you like every other game. And they were talking about how the big sister was going to be like the main antagonist, like a singular character, but in the game there's a whole bunch of them and things like that. Things didn't match up how they originally plotted it out. And I know that's how with games. They go through development and they go through changes in their plot. But the way it was set originally, it just felt overhyped, and when it came out, it didn't feel like a true sequel. It just felt like BioShock 1 continued. It just felt like DLC. It felt like
BioShock with a drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like the same thing. It's just you picked it up 10 years later. It's like, yeah, it was set 10 years later, but it didn't feel like its own entity. And then going even further than that, when I played Infinite, being the fan of the series that I am, or was, or is, sure, whatever. Being the fan of the series and going into Infinite, yes, I really like the story. I love the art. The characters are neat. But the game... Actually, I'm not even... Well, how do I put the story? The story has an interesting concept to it. But I feel like anytime someone or something takes the whole time paradox as their story, I always consider that a cop-out.
I do too. People hated me when that game came out, and I said that.
Yeah.
I said it was a cop-out.
That was our whole shtick.
Everyone hated me because they're like, this is the greatest story, you'll never see this coming. And I remember as soon as they played the music at the beginning, where they had the time, or not, I don't remember if it was like no, it was... The singers came out and they were starting to sing. I'm like, this is not from that era. There's going to be like a time warp sync thing. I was like, this is time paradox somehow. Yeah. And it was. And I was like, that's fucking dumb. I called that within the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
I did not like it.
I always think that stories that do a time paradox, it's like, yeah, it's neat. And in some ways you can make the story...
But you can just do whatever you want.
Exactly. That's
you
my
have
whole...
like a limit somewhere.
Yeah, it's like, you don't have a limit. It's like... this will razzle so many people. It's like Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. Doctor Who is great, but there's no limit to it because you can do whatever you want. And in some ways, that's really good, but...
For something like Doctor Who, that's its strong suit.
Yeah, but with BioShock...
For something like that, it's not a strong suit.
No, it just tainted it, I guess, to me.
You need to play Burial at Sea.
Yeah. I actually played the first part, but then I got rid of my Xbox before I got the second part, and
do you have it for the computer?
I never went back to Burial at Sea. I have Infinite for the computer. I should pick up Burial at Sea at some point. I saw what happened. I thought it was really good. It's really good. I know
Burial at Sea is really.
It's just like anything that takes me back to Rapture's fine. I don't want to go back to that fucking tire fire in the sky. But yeah, I still say that Infinite. It had an interesting concept for the story to begin with, like the lore of how the city came to be and blah, 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 blah. And the art is great and the characters are interesting. But also, when it comes to the gameplay, none of the plasmids felt interesting. I just used guns the whole time. It didn't feel like... The whole game felt like a shooting gallery.
A lot of
gallery.
That's the way it's described.
Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like there was much of a choice moving around. It's like, yeah, you could hack stuff, but I don't know. It's just they threw so much shit at you in waves. It's like you didn't have time to hack everything. I felt like you had to mow everything down.
Yeah, I did not like that part because I felt like I was getting into the story a little bit. And like it'd be like, it's cool, and I gotta go save Elizabeth, do all this stuff, and it's like, okay, now I gotta shoot through stuff. Now I gotta continue to shoot through stuff, and then you have to fight like that ghost lady.
That was so dumb.
I hated that part.
When I got to that part, it just fell out from under me. I was like, this story's not what it.
Well, that's when it took a very, very bad nosedive. When it went into that like gray. I don't even know how to describe it.
How do I put it? Like, dimensional boundaries are being torn type of thing.
That was really, really bad.
It wasn't succinct and put together.
No, it was not.
Like, I know how they're trying to go with, like, oh yeah, the boundaries of worlds and times are supposed to be broken. It's like, yeah, I understand that, but still, it just could have done it in a different way.
It was just not done.
But where's my place to say how a game should be built? It's not like I'm a dev or anything. I'm not. So yeah, that was my whole BioShock bit for the moment. I'll probably revisit revisit it in another episode. But yeah, that's what I really have for those generations. There's a couple other things I could touch on, but I think I could save those for better use in a different point in time. So, you guys have anything else?
I'm trying to think of something else.
No?
Well, let's see. By 2007, I had switched to the computer.
I think 2007 is around our cutoff for this section because this was about 2002 to 7, so it was a 5-year
Yeah,
period.
because
Something like that.
I had mainly switched to the computer at that point because I had built my computer. So
Next time we'll talk about computer
Yeah.
shit. All right. Well, this is Classy Gents Roundtable. See ya.